everyone, welcome back to another video today. Today we're going to be making a quick and easy chocolate tart. So first you're going to want to get some plain flour and you're going to want to sift that over your work surface. Then get some short crust pastry. You can either make it or buy it. I brought mine just to save time and to be quicker and easier. So lay that out on your work surface. And then you're going to want to knead your pastry for a little bit. Don't knead it too much, just play around with it, make sure it's as soft as you can get it, but don't play with it too much. So just get it till it's all mixed in a little bit and it's all decently soft. And then set that aside. So I'm going to use this dish. I think this was about 22 centimeters in diameter. It was a medium sized dish. This is one that I'd normally use for anything like pies or tarts or anything like that. So you're then going to want to get a rolling pin and roll out your short crust pastry. Don't forget to turn it every couple times you roll it. This stops it sticking to your surface, and the flour also helps with that, and also make sure that you roll it out as even as possible. Also, don't forget to put some flour on your rolling pin, as it will stop the pastry sticking to your rolling pin. So once you've rolled it out to a size that will cover your dish, make sure that it does actually cover your dish. So put your dish over it and make sure that it's the right size. Now when I get pastry into a tin or a pan, I find rolling it out of my rolling pin is the most easiest and useful way, whereas if you pick it up, sometimes it can tear quite easily. So definitely do it like this and then just re-roll it back over, and it is so much easier than picking it up and it all tearing. So now you're going to want to line your dish with pastry. So the way I like to do this is I like to pull the pastry that overhangs and then press it down. This makes sure that the pastry doesn't rip on the inside, because sometimes when you're pressing it up the sides, it rips because there's too much tension and there's not enough pastry like inside. So I like to pull up the loose ends on the side and then press it down at the same time. I find that the easiest way and the way that you get the less rips inside. So do that all the way around the side of your pastry tin until it's completely done. Then you're going to want to get a knife and cut off the excess pastry. I always like to cut it off quite broadly first, so as you can see I'm not cutting off as much, or I'm not cutting it to exactly to the tin. There's still quite a bit overhanging. I like to do that first just so it makes sure it doesn't cut off too much. So yeah. And then once you've loosely cut the pastry off the side, you can then go around and cut it more finer. If you want to leave it overhang like that, you can. It's totally up to you how much pastry you cut off the side. Personally, I like mine to be quite exact and quite neat as well. So this tin is actually really good because it's got a rim around the edge. So I used that to my advantage and I just went around the edge. As you see, I didn't go all the way around, I went part way around. This also helps to make sure that you're not cutting off too much as well. And I still continue to press it on the sides just to make sure that there were no rips or tears, and that was enough pastry that I needed inside. So do that all the way around your pastry tin, and do that all the way around until you're happy and it's as neat as you possibly want. save the pastry to make something else. You can actually make cookies with this and sprinkle a bit of sugar over it, or you can use it to make something like jam tarts or mince pies or something like that. So now that you've got all the pastry lined in your tin really neat, you're then going to want to get a fork and you're going to want to prick the base. So by pricking the base, this allows the steam to escape. So when it's cooking, to stop the pastry rising up, we're going to put rice or baking beans over it, and these holes that we're making with the fork will let the steam escape, which will not result in a soggy bottom. So do that all over the base of your pastry. You can do it out the sides. Some people do like to do that for effect, but if you're doing it out the sides, use the fork at an angle and create like a pattern. But you totally don't have to do that is optional. So then get a decently sized piece of parchment paper and press it down. Try not to make it wrinkle as much, as this may make the pastry wrinkle when it's cooked. So push it down, try to get all the air bubbles at the base as well, and try and make sure it's nice and flat and up all the sides. Now once you've done that, you then want to blind bake it. So you can either use bacon beans, pasta, rice. I didn't have any bacon beans, so I used about this size cup of rice, and I just put that in the base. I wouldn't say rice is the best as it's quite difficult to get out, but pasta, bacon beans, or you can use rice as well. They are all good substitutes to use if you don't have bacon beans. Then going to want to bake your pastry tin in the oven. I will leave oven temps and times in the description below. So now you're going to want to start making your ganache, which will be the filling in your pie. So to make ganache, there's many ways that you can do it. You can heat the chocolate and add cold cream. You can heat the cream and add it to room temperature chocolate. I prefer to heat the cream and add it to room temp chocolate. I think that's the best way. So measure your cream, measure your chocolate. For this ganache that we're making for a filling, you're going to want to use a 2-to-1 ratio of chocolate to cream. So whatever you do, you want to double the amount of chocolate and then half the amount of cream. So I've heated my cream and then I've broken up my chocolate as well. Use dark chocolate for this. It does work with milk chocolate, but the ratios are slightly different, and it does work with white chocolate, but the ratios are different as well. So you can use other chocolates, milk or white, but do check the ratios. So mix that in a little bit, and then I like to let it sit just so the chocolate heats up, and then I mix it again. I put this in the fridge for a little bit so it can firm up, and here is my pastry that's cooked. You can see it's slightly crispy around the edge and really flat on the bottom. It did not puff up, and that's what the bacon beans will do. So you're going to want to let your pastry cool for a little bit, maybe about 10 minutes, and add your ganache. I didn't put my ganache in the fridge for too long, as I didn't want it to firm up too much, as it would have been hard to get it into the pastry. So put all your ganache into the middle of your pastry, making sure you get all your ganache out of the bowl, as that stuff is lush. Then use a spatula to spread it all out to the sides. Make sure you get as much of the ganache out as possible. Like you can see, my bowl is literally clean. So add all that to the middle, and then you're just going to want to put all of it in the fridge for about 2 to 3 hours or overnight. The longer you leave it in the fridge, the longer it will set and the more firmer the ganache will be. And this is what you get.